On this Ask Katrina, the question is, Katrina, how do I know what my professional brand is and how do I change it? As always, great question. So, a couple of things there. Number one, how do you figure out what your current professional brand is? Well, you ask people. That's the easiest way. The reason that you feel like you don't know is because either you're getting feedback and you're being told your brand is one thing and you don't like it. Okay. You're being told your brand is one thing and you don't believe it. Okay. Or you're not being told anything. And so you're completely in the dark. It's typically one of those three, right? You're getting feedback and you don't like it. You're getting feedback and you don't believe it, or you're not getting feedback at all. So the fastest way to figure out what your professional brand is that you seek feedback and you ask. You don't just ask the people that you trust, right? And that you really think will give you the feedback you want to hear. You go and ask everyone. I don't know if you've ever done a 360 review. I don't know if your organization allows for that, but if they do, that's a great place to start if it's done correctly. Many times whenever we open up and try to do a 360 review, we ask for feedback from all of our direct reports because it's typically required. We ask for feedback from our supervisor because it's typically required. And then we'll ask for feedback from a few of our peers, but we have a select number of peers that we can choose. And we tend to pick the peers that we're closest to, right? Because we don't want the sting of getting negative feedback, right? But here's the reality. You've got to get the feedback. Whether it stings or not, if you truly want to understand what your professional brand really is and how you're perceived in the professional environment, you must get feedback from everyone. So the natural tendency is to pick the people that we feel like will give us honest feedback, but mostly positive feedback. You want feedback from everyone so that you can compile it and understand how you're viewed. You really need that. And then if all the feedback comes back and they have a positive view of you and they think everything's great, then there you go. If there's a negative view and it's mostly negative, there you go. But that is your reality. That is the perception that individuals have of you. And the only way to understand your brand is to ask it. And the only way to influence your brand is to once you understand what your brand is, then either maintain it if it's good or influence it and improve it if it's negative. All right. But that's the only way to do this thing. That's it. That's the only way to do it. Now, if you're trying to create a new brand from, manager to executive, that's a little bit different. That's what we work on here at Legend Leaders, but that's not the question. So maybe we'll dive into that in another series or another Ask Katrina. But ultimately, the question here is, how do I know what my brand is and how do I impact it? And again, I'll summarize super quickly. The way you do it, you ask, you compile, you seek to understand, you face reality, whatever it is, you keep the good things, you improve the bad things, the negative things, or the things that you can improve upon, and you move forward. There you go. That's your answer.